Okay, lab 4, configuring and securing Azure Container Registry and Azure Kubernetes Services lab. You've been asked to deploy a proof of concept with Azure Container Registry and Azure Kubernetes Service. Specifically, the proof of concept should demonstrate using Dockerfile to build an image, using ACR to store images, configuring a AKS service or AK service, securing and accessing container applications both internally and externally. So first one's going to be, okay, so creating the resource lab, using the Docker file to create the ACR, and then ACR pull from the Kubernetes cluster, or from the Kubernetes cluster using ACR pull lab files, the YAML files, yeah, Nginx internal and external. Let's go and get those. Lab 09. Let's just separate them like this for now. Internal, external, yep. Okay, so create ACR, create Docker file, build container, push it to ACR registry, create AKS cluster, grant the AKS cluster permission to access ACR, deploy an internal service to AKS, verify you can access an internal AKS hosted service, deploy an internal service to AKS, verify you can access an internal AKS hosted service. Ensure bash is selected, run the following to create a new resource for this lab. So Azure group, create name, AZ500 lab, location, East US. Okay, I'm probably gonna say it succeeded, great. In the bash session within the cloud shell, run the following to verify the resource group was created. Okay, yep, you can see it's been created. Bash session, run the following to create a new Azure Container Registry instance. The name of the ACR must be globally unique. Okay, assuming this works the same as sort of a storage, ensure it's globally unique, specified unit, basic. Record the name of the ACR, you will need it in the next task, no problem. Yep, so here's the ACR that's been created. Here it is, login server, location, that's the name, ID. Let me change this theme. Create a Docker file, build a container, push it to Azure Container Registry. In this task, you'll create a Docker file, build an image from the Docker file, and deploy the image to the ACR. Okay, so echo from Nginx. Run the following to build from the Docker file and push it. Docker file, which should do that, and then build from the Docker file. Yeah, your list resource group query name output.tsv, and then the ACR build group image sample nginx version 1 registry with the previous ACR name file Docker file, and run as admin. Alright, great. So I can close the Cloud Shell. In Azure portal, navigate to the AZ500 live resource, and in the resource, click the entry representing ACR instance you provisioned in the previous task. Yep. On the container registry blade in services, click repositories. Verify that the list of repositories include the new container image name sample nginx. Yep, can confirm that. Click view on entry to view the image manifest. The manifest includes the SHA-256 digest, manifest creation date, and platform entries. Create an Azure Kubernetes cluster. In this task, you'll create the AKS service and review the deployed resources. In the Azure portal, in the search resources, type Kubernetes service. And create the service. On the basics tab, cluster preset configuration, select dev/test. Cluster name. Okay, it's my Kubernetes cluster. Availability zones none. Scale method manual. Node count 1. Where is he? Okay. It was actually meant to be none. ACS pricing free. This management is free. You'll be charged for VM storage and networking usage, but for experimenting, learning, simply testing all workloads with fewer than 10 nodes. Use the current default version, automatic upgrade. Yep. Load image. Yep, just double check these. Okay, so it's going to get okay, please, able to check the box. Okay, so scale method, node count. enable patch, yep, recommend every week. Local accounts, role-based access. Okay, for these, enable clear checkbox. Pause tab, specify the following settings, leave others with the default values. Value clear checkbox. Okay, so it's saying don't check it. No problem. Virtual nodes allow bursting scaling backed by serverless ACI. On access, network configuration as your CNI, DNS prefix, leave default value. There was 2 CNIs, so yeah. On integrations, set container monitoring to disabled. That's for the Azure policy. For monitoring, is this for Defender, or it can't be for the policy? At scale enforcement safeguards AKS class from centralized consistent manner through AGR policy is recommended for dev test configuration. That's why I'm assuming it's for Defender when they're saying disable monitoring. They're probably assuming I'm on the free tier and not the pay as you go. Next, click create. Wait, monitoring. That's for integrations. They say nothing else for monitoring. On resource groups blade, note a new resource was created, my Kubernetes cluster underscore east US. That's after this has been created, I'm guessing. While we wait, we can sort of load up the next one because we just need to confirm it. Bash session within the Cloud Shell panel running the following, which is Azure AKS get credentials from the Azure resource 500 resource group, and then the Kubernetes cluster, or my Kubernetes cluster. The thing is, if this hasn't loaded yet, I'm not going to get any credentials. Okay, great. Recommend alert rules, action group. And yeah, this is successfully loaded. Merged Kubernetes cluster as current context in home/opening.kube/config. kubectl get nodes. I don't think there are any running. Yep, no resources found. Okay, that's created. Cluster operation successful. Okay, both nodes are ready. That should have already been completed. Okay, grant the AKS cluster permissions to access the ACR and manage its virtual network. In this task, you will grant the AKS cluster permissions. Yep. In the bash session within the cloud, run the following to configure the AKS cluster to use the ACR instance you created in this lab. So yep, would need the ACR name again from the resource query name, and then Azure AKS update the node, my cluster node from the group AZ500 lab 05, and then attaching the ACR with the name configuration that we've just assigned previously. So yeah, that's us assigning the ACR name. And then, yep, operations not allowed. Okay, which operation is it? Could it still be the same deployment? Okay, created. Cluster onboarding. Okay, everything's done now. So let's give that another try. Alright, let's let that wait a bit or load. This command may take a few minutes. Yeah, so this command grants the ACR pull row assignments to the ACR. After this is loaded in the bash session within the Cloud Shell, run the following to grant the AKS cluster the contributor role to its virtual network. Okay, so that's the resource group for where the AKS is. The resource group for the VNet MC underscore AZ500 level 9 my Kubernetes cluster East US, and then the VNet name would be this. Let me just double check that. Yeah, VNet. That's the no recording group. I'm guessing that's the name it's going to give it. Then AKS VNet ID will be the AKS VNet name within the resource group, and then the VNet itself query ID output TSV. Then the managed ID it will give is the principal ID, again output TSV, and then AZ role assignment create assignee AKS managed ID for the role contributor, and the scope would be within the VNet ID. So let's clear this and get started. Okay, so resource group underscore AKS equals AZ500 lab 09, and for the VNet equals MC underscore AZ500 lab 09 underscore my Kubernetes cluster underscore East US for the location, and then the AKS VNet name is AKS VNet 30198516, and the AKS underscore cluster name equals my Kubernetes cluster AKS VNet ID it will come from the AZ network VNet show name AKS underscore VNet underscore name resource group, and it's going to be the resource group VNet VNet, and the query ID output TSV. Just double check that. The resource network under resource group plus was not found. Okay, that was partially what I was concerned about. My VNet is slightly different, so this is outside of it. Alright, we'll put in the VNet AKS VNet underscore name equals this, and then we'll redo the AKS VNet ID to this. The resource for VNet under resource group was not found. Again, how is it not found? It's within the resource. So virtual networks AZ500 lab VNet. This the virtual network is attached to. No subnet. So I'm not really understanding how it's not recognizing it. Resource group VNet AZ500 stays east. Yeah. on the resource group. Um, Alright, I know how I want to change it, I just don't want it to cause an issue down the line. To AKS VNet. I'm guessing this is what it's going to be identified as. Okay, I don't think this one is going to be completed. I'll have to come back to it. Oh, very annoying. Yep, so I've confirmed I did the cluster networking configuration wrong. Where it said, where is it? CNI, I did CNI overlay. No, I did CNI subnet as your CNI subnet when I should have done as your CNI overlay. That's how you end up with the result of this virtual network being associated with the Kubernetes cluster instead of one actually being created within the resource itself. So now let's move on to the next part. So let's get the credentials. Okay, so now back to granting contributor role to the AKS cluster to its virtual network. Okay, so it seems like that's been assigned. Role definition, subscription, the VNet is identified 8516. It's the same one I showed previously. Role assignments. Okay, great. Let's go into task 5. In this task, you'll download the manifest files, edit the YAML file, and apply your changes to the cluster. In the bash session within the Cloud Shell, click upload download box, navigate to location where you downloaded the lab files, select external YAML, click open, and in the bash session run the following to identify the name of the Azure container registry instance in the YAML file so you can edit its contents. So I'm going to download these two. Let's do internal first, and then we can upload them here. Okay, so done. ACR name, container registry name, nice, same one, and run Nginx external YAML file so you can edit its contents. Okay, sure. What on earth? Okay, so having a look at it, it's only that. And you want to, in the editor pane, scroll down to line 24, replace ACR unique name with my current ACR name. Yep, so line 24, that, and then in the top right, click save. That's annoying. Oh, okay, so you can just right click it on this one. Okay, so control save, control Q. Alright, great. kubectl apply file and Nginx external YAML. Review the output of the command you ran in the previous task to verify that the deployment and corresponding services being created. Yeah, got those deployments and code created. Verify that you can access external AKS hosted service. So get service, Nginx external load balancer, cluster IP, external IP, and the ports. Age is only just over a minute. So the external IP, not how I intended. I'll get the cluster IP as well, just in case. Yep, so welcome to Nginx. If you see the page, successfully installed and working. Okay, great. Deploy an internal service to AKS. So yeah, I would need to edit the AKS YAML, add the ACR name, and then add the ACR name, close it, apply it, get the same settings, and then get that service to start running. Alright, great. Okay, so yep, under unique name, save it, quit, and then apply it. Okay, created, deployment created, service created. Get the service for it. External IP pending ports. Alright. Actually, alright, great. There we go. This is the cluster ID 147, and then this will be the external IP, which is technically internal, but okay. Alternatively, you could use the cluster IP address. Okay, so kubectl get pod. Yeah, external running, internal running. In the bash session within the class, shall run the following to connect interactively to the first pod. Replace the pod name placeholder with the name you copied in the previous step. Yep, so kubectl execute interactive pod name --bin bash. Okay, so now we're root within that pod. In the bash session, cloud verify that the Nginx website is available via the private IP address of the service. Replace the internal IP, the IP address you recorded in the previous task. And then, yep, you can see the web page for it in HTML. Alright, thank you for using service. Great. Yep, configured, secured ACR and AKS. Now let's switch and break down the resources. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.